last Tuesday we did what I would refer to as the part one on the Mormonism, where we looked at the beginnings of Mormonism. Controversial because a lot of Mormons say that that's not what they teach, but we showed you using their literature, their information, their books, their prophets, just what they do teach about the planet Kolob, about the fathers, they refer to Elohim, celestial wives, that Jesus is the spiritual brother of Lucifer. We showed you that. And then we went on to show you different aspects in which they want us to believe that they are Christian, but in fact, their doctrine goes contrary to what the Scripture says. So today we're going to continue with that, and we're going to look at some more quotes from them, showing that they indeed do not follow under the teaching or under the heading of Christianity. One of the things that I want to do, I want to quote from Prophet Spencer W. Kimball, and this is from the Miracle of Forgiveness, page 206, and the Book of Mormon Student Manual, pages 122, I think it's 122 and 123. One of the most fallacious doctrines originated by Satan and propounded by man is that man is saved alone by the grace of God, that belief in Jesus Christ alone is all that is needed for salvation. Now, you understand, they are saying that this is a fallacious doctrine. This is a false doctrine. This is to them, it would be anathema to believe that we are saved that way. But in Christianity, that is the only way that we're saved.
We are saved by grace through faith and not of works, lest any man should
boast. So again, we see that this is contrary to what the Bible teaches. Next thing we want to look at is that by their own words, they declare that the doctrine of salvation by faith is wrong. They are the ones who do not want to be Christian. It's not us picking on them. Their own doctrines go contrary to what the church teaches, what true biblical Christianity teaches. This is from Brigham Young. The Lord created you and me for the purpose of becoming gods like himself. We are created, we are born for the express purposes of growing up from the lowest state of manhood to become gods like unto our Father in heaven. That is the truth about it, just as it is. Brigham Young, August 8, 1952, Journal of Discourses. Now, again, this is an aspect where there's some controversy because they want to distance themselves from this teaching, but it is a true teaching of Mormonism. I think about 4 or 5 years ago, Gordon Hinckley, which was the president of the LDS Church, he was interviewed before his death, and he tried to sidestep this question.
Well, how can they do that? Because in Mormon doctrine, that once a prophet, quote unquote, and the prophetess who leads the church at that time gives an edict, it's supposed to be from God, and it cannot be changed.
Especially this edict of polygamy, for example, that was given by Joseph Smith, and he said it was an unchangeable edict. It could not be changed by any future prophets. And so we'll get to that in a moment. But again, what Hinckley did was he tried to sidestep it and said, well, and then the interviewer said, do you believe or not? He said, yes, but we don't emphasize it. And that's why there are a lot of Mormons, when we talk about this, they'll say, oh, we don't teach that. Oh, yes, you do. However, it's still in your doctrine. It's still in the basis of what your church teaches. However, it is not emphasized as much. Now, the only way that you can become a god, be exalted, is to go through all of the temple rituals. And a lot of Mormons have not done that.
Yeah, most haven't.
Most haven't. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let me ask this question. How does one get, do they choose people, or do they pay, or they have to be of stature, of prominence?
What they have to do is they have to go through a scrutiny of questions and receive a temple recommend before they can go through that. And that is to show, their words, to show the worthiness of the candidate.
So not I don't know how many Mormon churches are in America. Let's just say there's 1,000 for the sake of argument.
Let me just say this. If I'm not mistaken, there's only the church originally in Salt Lake City was the only one that could do this, but I think they put either 10 or 12
they have temples. The largest amount of temples was built under the president that had just died, Gordon Hinckley.
Right.
He's the one that, matter of fact, they say 1/3 of the Mormons today have become Mormons under his leadership, which, of course, he's been president for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But he's the one who has built the most temples all around the world. We have one just down the street here.
Okay, so could a person, the one here in town, if they got a temple recommend, instead of having to go to Salt Lake City, could they go through that ritual? Okay.
Absolutely.
But then that brings me to the second question. Say there's 500 people sitting in the, I don't know when they have service and how many people go there. Let's say there's 500. Now, not all of them have gone through that ritual.
Not all of them have. No, the majority would not have.
Why? They haven't asked.
Part of it is they haven't been taught. Some of it is teaching wise. I've talked to Mormons that had no idea. So what are you talking about? They will use the word sacred temple rituals, and we actually have later on we have some clips of that or some discussion of that. But they will say sacred, but really it's secret.
Well, then wouldn't that they don't call them pastors, but whoever's the leader of that
Bishop,
that temple, would he have to be someone that before he could rise to that position have to have gone through that process himself, or do they have the people in positions of leadership that haven't done it?
Well, they have the priesthood. They've got two priesthoods: the Aaronic, Aaron, and then the Melchizedek priesthood. So they would have to go through themselves and to be endowed and to receive the temple rituals. They themselves then would be able to do it. And you've got to be qualified. You've got bishops, you've got stake, S-T-A-K-E, not states, stake overseers, and then you've got your apostles, you've got your council, so forth. And so there has to be the different priesthoods. All right, Brigham Young, this October 1859, every man and woman must have the certificate of Joseph Smith, Jr. as a passport to their entrance into the mansion where God and Christ are. I with you and you with me, I cannot go there without his consent. Folks, our entrance into heaven is not based on a certificate given by man. Our entrance into heaven is based on our faith in what Jesus Christ did at Calvary. Our name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life not because of a statement made by Joseph Smith, but because of what Jesus Christ did in our faith in doing that.
Well, now, are they still issuing these passports?
Well, it's something we don't receive here. It's something that Joseph Smith will give to you, I guess, on the resurrection.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah,
leave when the Mormon resurrection takes place, you go to that celestial planet wherever, and there's millions of those planets, and you don't know which one you're going to. But when you get there, there'll be someone that gives you a passport with Joseph Smith's stamp in it. Is that really?
That's probably close to it. I don't know the exact details how that goes. We do know that there are three three places: the celestial, the telestial, and the terrestrial. And depending on your level of commitment to the teaching of Mormonism, and the celestial, the highest rating in the celestial is those who have gone through, according to Joseph Smith, the temple rituals, have been baptized as a Mormon, follow the doctrines of Mormonism, are polygamous, have gone through, again, become all through the endowments and everything, and have been sealed in holy matrimony with their family. They're the only ones that can attain that. The majority of Mormons do not want to attain that. The majority of Mormons say, I would rather stay on the telestial or the terrestrial because I can marry and have children. So there's a sex involved there, which these are the only ones that were born again.
So they're saying that after death and after the resurrection, that you can be married and bring children into the world on this whatever planet you're on.
And those that have their own planet, those who make it to the highest level of the celestial, they will have their own planet, and they will have celestial wives for eternity and produce celestial spirits. All right. Polygamy, which is also referred to as the work of Abraham, goes clearly against the teachings of the Bible, yet were a part of the early Mormon teaching. This is a quote from the Journal of Discourses, Brigham Young. The only men who become gods, even the sons of gods, are those who enter into polygamy. Now, this is from Joseph Smith himself. If you abide not in the covenant of polygamy, then you are damned, Joseph Smith. So we see this is the very first prophet of the LDS Church. And so his words were supposed to be binding on all other prophets. This was called the non-revocable teaching, yet it was changed later actually it was in 1840, in the 1840s, when the government came in and said, if you want to become a state, you're going to have to change that teaching.
Well, what happened, in my readings, is that when they were chased out of Illinois,
right,
and they decided to go west to look for their Zion, right, and they came across the Salt Lake Flats, and the mountains, there was water, there were things, and it was nothing. It was plains. It was wilderness. The only other people there were Indians and an occasional trapper.
Right.
And that's where they set up. And it was set up, and it was going to be their Zion.
Right.
And then, but as it began to grow, and Salt Lake began to grow city, one of the first things that in the layout, those people don't realize, in the layout of Salt Lake City, the physical layout, as Brigham Young laid it out, it has the widest streets of any city in America. The reason why is that Brigham Young wanted streets so wide that 4 teams of wagons, schooners, 2 on one side going one way, 2 side by side on the other side coming the other way, could travel down the street because they were bringing in so many people, so many supplies. And then the trappers started coming in, and it became a trading area. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's territory.
Right.
Well, the next thing is, from a territory is a statehood. But there was a problem that the federal government was having to wrestle with, and that was their practice of polygamy.
And it was really Congress who really pushed it. Congress was very set against it and said, how can we have one a territory that wants to become a state that is going contrary to what the rest of the United States has agreed upon?
Exactly. And the ultimatum was given. You either conform to what is the law of the land, one man, one wife, and or we will come in and forcibly take over the territory.
And what they were going to do is they said that we would destroy your temple and we will take over it and you will never become a state.
Yeah. And the first Capitol house that was built that became a state, which is now City Hall where the mayor's office is, if you go and look at it, on the bottom where the cornerstone is a Masonic symbol.
Yeah, the Masons do most of the cornerstones in these
Right,
buildings in all over the country, and churches,
Joseph
by the way.
Smith was not a Mason when he started Mormonism, but he did become a Mason before the temple rituals came in.
Yeah.
And the temple rituals, not as much now, but the temple rituals were very closely tied to the Freemasons.
Wouldn't it be nice if we had some people in Congress today that would take the stand that they took against Mormonism back then?
Exactly.
They're just letting it go now. If this was to come up today, they wouldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, Congress needs, we see Congress that is supposed to be voted by the people for the people, but they're not standing up to the views of the people. It's as if the views don't even exist. All right. The LDS Church has revoked the teaching contrary to the warning of Joseph Smith. Now, the Reformed Mormon branches, and there's over 100 different branches. I didn't know that until I was doing some more studying, that there's over 100 different branches of Reformed Mormonism. They still believe this original doctrine of polygamy as being true Mormonism.
Well, I keep interrupting, but there's that, most of this is out west.
Right.
And there's that town in Arizona.
Yeah.
That's right on the border of Arizona, and it's all Mormon. And it is
the police force, everything.
And it's polygamy. They're all polygamists, practicing polygamists. And if my understanding is correct, no outsiders are welcome. I mean, if you pull in and drive off to get gas or something, they may give you the gas, but you're told fill up and get out.
Yeah.
And it's like they live in their own little secret society in that little corner of Arizona.
They had a documentary on that a few years ago. It was very interesting.
I saw that. It was very troubling, but at the same time, it's amazing that we have a place in the United States in which the laws of the land do not apply. And that's exactly what they've set up there. Okay,